Welcome back to Remade in California. We are the show that explores people who are launching new careers and businesses or simply reinventing themselves. This episode, we've been exploring toxic relationships in the workplace, what they are, what the laws surrounding them are, and now, who do we talk to? Joining us is Charlotte Booth, a Hudson Institute and ICF certified coach and former HR executive at Mattel. So Charlotte, what kind of situations that you can share have been reported to you when you were at Mattel?
Well, you really hear all sorts of different things, from things as small as people being uncomfortable because of loud noises or smells, from extreme situations of being bullied by their boss, improper conduct, verbally abusive relationships in the workplace, even situations where a boss is pressuring them to get drunk during a company event, all sorts of different situations.
What is the threshold to report something to HR?
Yeah, well, generally, most companies want you to be able to talk to your boss and tell them.
Start there.
Yeah, start with your boss, unless obviously the boss is involved, or if they've started with their boss and nothing seems to happen, things are not progressing, there's no solution. If it's a situation where someone is at risk mentally, emotionally, physically, then you absolutely need to report it to HR. Any kind of improper conduct, any behavior that shouldn't be tolerated, that somebody would say, I wouldn't normally put up with this in my day-to-day life, why am I putting up with it at work?
And is it encouraged ever to speak to the person you feel like is toxic, or, directly? Is that a good strategy, or is that probably depends, but?
Yeah, often if a person feels comfortable, it's better to address the person that's
might end there.
Yeah, right. Just say, hey, you did this, it made me uncomfortable. Can we talk about it? Things like that.
Yeah, because some people, certainly all the toxic and sexual harassment is often perception, there are definite rights and wrongs, certainly. Yes. But as we talked about in a former segment, some cultures are different in companies.
Yeah.
So often HR is kind of viewed as maybe a little bit inaccessible, or maybe they're going to, be an advocate for the company more than the employee. How do you encourage people to utilize their HR resources at a company?
Yes, I often say that when somebody starts with a company, one of the first things they should do is get to know their HR business partner.
Right.
Because this person can help you manage your career in the company. They're going to know about promotions first. And if something comes up, if an issue comes up, it's important for the HR person to know them. And that won't happen unless they take the time. And most people don't go to HR until something's wrong. And it's better to build that relationship before you would ever get to that place.
Assume you need to know the doctor before you're sick.
Exactly. Yeah. And most HR people are in HR because they want to help people. They want to help people succeed and grow in a company.
Boy, that is, I some of the coaching that we share, there are a lot of HR executives, and I've never seen a more caring group of people. It's obviously, to a certain degree, a calling.
That's right.
Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because they also have to hold policy and procedures in place, they're sometimes looked at as a company policeman or a person that is difficult and is causing problems or not pushing things through. But in reality, they want to protect the employee. They want the employee to have a good experience in the company, and they want to see them succeed.
Let's talk about safety.
The first thing to do as an HR person is not to jump to conclusions and not to make assumptions. You really need to look at all the information out there.
Innocent until proven guilty. Pretty much.
Exactly. And if anything ever escalates, most companies have obviously security and things like that where they would escort somebody out. But there's a process of gathering information and really finding out all the information that's involved to make sure that they have the real story in there before they start taking action.
So we have a recent situation with Billy Bush and Access Hollywood, and not to bring politics into the show, but Donald Trump being recorded in that. So a lot of discussion about work culture.
Yes.
And what's allowable in different cultures.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that, like what might be the difference between a tech company up in Silicon Valley and a Mattel, or in my case, a Disney, that's very family oriented.
Right. Yeah. So often a company tries to shape their culture by defining their values and their mission statement. But it can't stop there. It really relies on the senior level executive's behavior. So if their behavior is at odds with the mission or the values, that's what's going to dictate culture. The behavior of senior executives and even below that, middle managers, also often can shape a culture with regards to behavior. So if you're seeing a behavior that you're uncomfortable with as an employee and it's coming from a senior level executive, then it's almost giving license for other people to behave that way.
Yeah. Stinks from the head down is the
That's
expression.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
and when you see that as an HR person, and it's the most important person in the company, it's got to be a bit of a dilemma.
It is.
What happens?
Yeah, so a number of things can happen. Often it's dealt with directly with that senior executive. There's a conversation that goes on to talk about proper conduct and behavior. If the executive needs some help with regards to coaching or managing management performance or sending them to classes, that type of thing will
so there's
be ensued. Yeah, and often
it's almost like a rehab kind of situation.
Yeah, and they're usually
only for behavior or other addictions in a way.
Yeah.
What's your advice to a small businessman that might encounter this?
Yeah. So if you're working within a small business as an employee of a small business, your best bet is to deal with the person directly and have an honest conversation. Sometimes people's behavior is there's a complete unawareness that comes with it, right? They aren't aware that they're being offensive or difficult or abusive or verbally abusive or bullying. They're not aware of it. And so an employee can say, "This, when I see this behavior happen, it impacts me in this way," then it can create awareness.
For more information about Charlotte, please visit swayzeboothconsulting.com. And for more information on how California's community colleges can help you be remade in California, go to doingwhatmatters.cccco.edu.